Hello, I'm Richard Gisbert, and you're at The Listening Post. This week, political unrest in Asia, Southeast and Central. The media and their role in the stories coming out of Thailand and Kyrgyzstan. The media massacre in the Philippines. Murder charges against 2 politicians have been dropped. And an online cartoonist wins the Pulitzer Prize.
The media is led by the devil.
Thailand is in the midst of a color-coded fight for political power, and the most powerful weapons in either side's arsenal are media, big and small. In the red corner, the backers of former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra, who was thrown out of office in a military coup in 2006, but has been calling protesters out onto the streets over the web from his Cambodian exile. In the yellow corner, the government of Abhisit Vejjajiva and most of the country's print and broadcast news outlets. The government has shut down opposition TV and radio stations and scores of websites, but it's up against a canny political operator in Shinawatra, who made his fortune in mobile phones and knows his way around the world of media. That's our starting point this week: the red-soaked streets of Bangkok, the battle for hearts and minds, and the media outlets on opposite sides of Thailand's news divide.
A grenade explodes near a group of soldiers in Bangkok's worst violence in almost 2 decades.
The media has played a very important role in this conflict.
Red shirt protesters are just descending on the Thai capital. They are vowing to bring down the government.
We are seeing a media battle going on here.
ซึ่งโดนของรถข่าวเช่นเดียวกันนะคะเป็นรอยอย่างที่เห็นนะคะ
The media has been divided amongst the 2 sides, essentially. You have media outlets aligned with the reds and media outlets aligned with the yellow.
Both sides in this battle have used the media a lot.
And that's very much the battleground under which this situation is currently unfolding.
If there was one political figure, one individual the Thai government did not want to get into a media war with, it would be Thaksin Shinawatra, the democratically elected prime minister the Thai military deposed in the 2006 coup.
Thaksin was a media magnate. He used his media influence to help get him elected, to rally political support, and to reach out to the rural voters that eventually became the red shirts.
Thaksin was very clever with the media. He made his fortune out of telecommunications, so he was naturally sort of attuned to how the media works and how powerful it could be.
And since he's been ousted, both in exile and now that he's in Cambodia, he's used media to be in touch with his supporters. So he uses internet forums, social networking sites, Twitter, Facebook, High Five, but also he broadcasts sort of TV and radio addresses that go out and are broadcast to protesters on the streets as a way of sort of rallying them.
What is your message to your supporters? To protect democracy.
However, in terms of mainstream media muscle, it's advantage government. 6 of the 7 TV channels are owned by government agencies or the Thai military.
From the very start, we have seen the Yellow Group rallied through their own cable television channel called ASTV, and they have their own media group as well. So they have their own speakers.
There's a lot of TV stations owned by the military. They were very quick to take on radio stations and then TV stations. Of course, now it's become major propaganda tools.
A lot of the mainstream media, things like, you know, the Nation newspaper or the Bangkok Post, as well as Channel 5, which is the army-controlled TV channel, are all pro-government and therefore pro-yellow shirt. They have much more mainstream channels to sort of broadcast their view of what's going on.
The Reds have one channel on their side. PTV was funded by Shinawatra and launched the year after the 2006 coup.
The Red channel, I think, has been a very vital medium for the Red Group in a way that they have used the channel to communicate among themselves more effectively, and they feel that this is perhaps the one and only channel that they can have to voice their concern and to tell their stories.
The government said that under the state of emergency it decided that PTV, the People's Channel, was telling lies about the government, and so the government wanted it off the airwaves. The protesters decided to go to Thaicom, which is the satellite uplinker for that station, and get the station put back on air. They felt it was their right.
When this station was cut, people very much felt as if they were being cut off from the truth, and they very much felt that they couldn't get information.
There is chaos in Bangkok, Thailand. Just watch this for a minute.
Faced with such factionalized coverage on their domestic channels, Thais have been turning to their satellite dishes and tuning into outside perspectives.
And this is where the military have taken up their positions. This is directly opposite where the red-shirted demonstrators are.
International media has provided quite valuable coverage. A number of people inside Thailand at this moment are seeking out information from the foreign media, which is a bit irony.
So the international media is much more into, the blood that was poured on political buildings in protest, into the violence, into the sort of sea of red, into the crowds, the more sensational aspects of the protests, where they really overlook the kind of less sexy elements of very complicated Thai politics, which is what the protests are really about.
For example, this has very much been pitted as a struggle between the rural masses and the Bangkok elite. It goes much further than that. In actual fact, a lot of the red shirt supporters come from inside Bangkok, and not everyone from rural Thailand supports the former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra.
Another information option is online, but there have been fewer websites to go to, particularly on the opposition side, since the government declared the state of emergency on April 7th.
Well, under the state of emergency, some 36 websites are currently blocked. Certainly the red shirt stations that are broadcasting their information, but also various news websites. Thailand's been grappling with this issue of censorship of the internet. In particular, they censor some 55,000 different websites already before this state of emergency was declared. And now the worry is that this will further restrict internet freedoms in this country.
Military interventions are part and parcel of Thai politics. There have been 13 coups in 78 years. And with the military now warning that it will take what it calls decisive action if the protests persist, Thais and their media could find themselves under martial law, and soon.
One of the first things